Okay. Everyone can hear me? Yeah? Okay, awesome. So hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday Night Dare to Dream team call. Tonight is Monday, September 5th. Happy Labor Day. Thank you for jumping on the call and being here, even though it's a holiday. Jessica and Brian are celebrating their anniversary. They're in Jamaica, so we're glad that we can all be here and let them enjoy their time together. So I'm going to jump right into announcements and recognition so we can get to the meat of the call. So let's see here. I'm sorry in advance if I butcher your names because I've never read through most of these names before today. So let's see here. Okay, so we're going to start with team volume. That is volume for this week ending on September 1st, this past week. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, so we're going to start with 400 superstars. Oh my gosh, my screen's doing crazy things. So this is team volume, anything that you or your coaches have, or that you or your have purchased, or your volume for the week for your customers. So 400 superstars. Lisa Jubb, Margot Walton, Leah Oxstad, Shannon Balbalson, Jacqueline McDevitt, Rachel Kohler, Susanna Gregorzik, Leanne Fish, Hashi Travathan, Alicia Rose, Benjamin Schroeder, Laura Kwok, Jennifer Keegan, Alexis Louvenaire. Sorry, my screen's going crazy. Cindy Magnus, Nicole Jammer, Holly Eckley, Mila Johnson, Andrea Oliver, Becky Hatton, Ashley Driver, Courtney Lang, Heather Reed, Donna Howell, and Tara Nistico. 500 superstars, Julie Rapisi, Leah Krabenhoft, Chrissy Denzel, Kylie Littman, Aubrey Cristello, Amanda Chamberlain. 600 superstars, Nicole Schreiber, Mary Ellen Giannino, Joy Strickland, Jason Cosmedes, Heather Ullman. 700 superstars, Amanda Mila, Tracy Red Sticker, Janine Harvey, Kathy Branchi. 900 superstars, Megan Clark, and our top producer for the week is Candace Brockner. Awesome job, everybody. Okay, so I'm gonna close some windows because this is really slow for me. Okay, moving on to our top sponsors of the week. All of these coaches have added 3 or more coaches to the team in 1 week. You know what? I'm just gonna pull up my phone. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay. Adam Davidson, Amber Magnin, Artrina Wallace, Brianna Skoog, Denise Monell Clark, Erin Harcrow, Josiah Santiago, Kaylin Hartman, Marcy Owens. 10 coaches in 1 week. That is so crazy awesome. Nick Alexis, Sarah Showers, and Tanya Locke. So great job, everybody. So moving on to rank advancements. Emerald coaches this week. This is where your business really begins to take off. This is when you're like open for business. This week we had Alina Jackson, Brianna Skoog, Denise Monell Clark, Katie Westman, Lynn Johnson, Melody Montagne, Tara Nazario, and Teray Tardy. And I know Jessica always tells the story about how if her coach Julie wasn't an Emerald coach when she signed up, then she never would have been referred to her. So always, make it your goal to get to Emerald. Educated Emerald, Lisa Morass-Walterman, Stephanie Johnson. That means you have 3 active coaches on either leg, and you are so close to Diamond. Double Emerald coaches is Amber Mignig, Minjin, I'm sorry guys, and Evelyn Valdivesio. And then new diamond coaches, congratulations to Carly Braxton and Kimberly Ybarra. Awesome job, everybody. There's a ton of challenge pack sales going on right now. It's so crazy. Country Heat Shakeology plus Country Heat Kickstart Shakeology Challenge Pack, 21-day fixed plus 21-day fixed kickstart, 21-day fixed extreme plus 21-day fixed kickstart, extreme kickstart, 22-minute hard corps, 22-minute hard corps with Shakeology and then with the performance line as well. Size plus Shakeology, size kickstart, 3-day refresh, the club challenge pack, which is so much value, guys. If you haven't looked into everything that actually comes with, you need to, because it's crazy. For $140, I get the containers and everything. Club kickstart, which comes with a 3-day refresh as well, PIO and PIO kickstart. So many options to help customers with. And yoga, the 3-week yoga retreat just launched on Beachbody On Demand. So if you haven't given that a try, definitely check it out. It is not going to be coming out in a program separately. It's just on Beachbody On Demand. And I think that's all the announcements we have for this week. So our speaker tonight is Becky Schroeder, and she's going to talk to us about motivating us to just do what we got to do those daily vital behaviors and move our business forward, the small things that really make the biggest difference. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, Becky, and you can take it away. Oops.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I have to wear these headphones or I get like weird echoes. Hey guys. Cool. Well, I'm excited to talk to you all tonight, and I can't really see. Oh my God, we have like 50 people on. Sweet. Thank you guys first and foremost for getting on a holiday, and for anybody else who's watching this as a replay, rock on. Okay, I am gonna actually share my screen if I can remember how. Zoom, you little jerk, you. Let's see here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Maybe if I put it, can you still see it if I do that? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm not hearing anything. Okay, cool. So I'm going to dive right in, and we have what, like 20 minutes-ish, 15, 20 minutes. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about motivating yourself to do the little daily actions. Key here being motivating yourself, because literally no one can do it for you. It's taken me quite a while to figure that out, but now that I have, it's it's been kind of insightful. So first thing, this call I feel like is for any new coach who's just trying to get started and trying to get consistent in your daily business activities, or for any other more experienced coach who is struggling to get consistent. I personally have, in my 3 years as a coach, have struggled with, I'm hearing an echo. I don't know what that is. Maybe I can mute. I hear like a TV. Devin Simon, is that you?
Embarrassing. Sorry.
It just shows me. It pops it up. Anyway, I was like, is that me? Anyway, guys, yeah. So I wanted to talk on this because I personally struggle with this. I've been a coach for about 3 years, and yes, I've had some success. I mean, I'm Star Diamond coach, Success Club All-Star Legend, all that jazz. But I've personally, the entire time I've been a coach, have struggled with motivating myself to consistently do the vital behaviors, which seems like such a elementary thing, right? But it's been like a constant struggle for me, which is why I focus on it, right? And I think the bottom line that in my journey as a coach I've discovered is that my inconsistency as a coach is the biggest thing that holds me back from bigger success, from helping my team more, from helping more people, from having better results just in every area of this business. So it was maybe sometime at the end of last year, I kind of like had the light bulb where you realize, hey, we all have the exact same opportunity and the same tools and the same awesome training. And so it's basically me that holds me back from what I want. Okay, so I just have a couple slides. They don't have any words on them, so you'll just have to listen to me. But I will share this with you guys after we're done. So if you want the actual notes, you can have them. So this is where I started, right? As a coach, we all hear from your coach, from every successful coach in this business, even from our CEO, right? To just get over yourself and just do it. Just do the 3 vital behaviors, suck it up and just do it, even when you don't want to. And as you've seen from all the successful coaches in the network, that approach actually works, but only if you just do it. And that was where I was getting stuck. You hear from tons of coaches, I just did what my coach told me to do, or I just did what my coach did and it worked, right? And that, again, that approach works great as long as you actually do it. But for me personally, I was getting stopped before I even could do the behaviors enough to see the success that would come from just doing it. Okay. And that's part of why I want to talk about this today. So let me just ask, I can't see anybody except for Gilly on the little window, but show of hands for the people who are watching this recording, right? Anybody else, one of those people that puts off studying for the test until the night before, and then you stay up all night cramming and probably did okay on your test the next day, probably passed, probably, at least got by. I know I was that person. Every test I ever took in college was the night before cram. And so I've been practicing these habits for a long time. But what I realized when it came to coaching, I was doing that exact same thing with coaching. I was, for whatever reason, mentally checking out the first couple weeks of the month. I was tired. And then I would freak out that I was going to miss Success Club. And so I would hustle my buns off for the last 2 weeks of the month. I would wear myself out. And then come the beginning of the next month, I would be tired and overwhelmed. And I would go back into that cycle of being oh, I just need a break. Okay, so it was just bred this cycle of inactivity that was legitimately exhausting. So you'd hear people talk about this business, and they're like, oh, I don't have time, or it's too much work, or it's, all these reasons why this business is difficult. At the end of the day, I and my poor habits was making my own business harder on myself than it needed to be. Bummer, right? So it was like being on a yo-yo, literally. And it just wasn't really getting me anywhere. So if you, let's see here, what else was I going to say on this topic? I have notes. I can't remember anything. Here was where I got into this point. And I tell you this story because I'm thinking maybe some other coaches out there may be in the same spot or have heard this before, where you've heard the just suck it up and do the vital behaviors, and then for whatever reason you don't. I heard that so many times. Just do it. Just be consistent. Just do it. Right? Do what's required. And I love that mentality, but somewhere along the line, I would get stopped. I would want to do it. I would see that it was working for other coaches. I would even plan out in great detail how I was going to do my vital behaviors. And I would tell my success partner I was going to do it. And then somewhere down the road, I just wouldn't. I might do it on days that I felt like it, but on the days I didn't feel like it, I had a laundry list of reasons why I couldn't do these simple vital behaviors. So my point here in mentioning this to you guys is that the only thing that comes from that type of behavior is getting frustrated, getting discouraged, not seeing the results that you want, and that perpetuating feeling discouraged and frustrated. I know for me personally, when I would make up all these reasons why I didn't have time or didn't have the energy or didn't have whatever reasons why I decided I wasn't going to do my vital behaviors, then the next feeling I would have was guilt that I wasn't doing what I knew I was supposed to be doing. And it was just this really unpleasant, yo-yo cycle. So anyway, as you guys have probably heard, right? Consistency is actually the secret to what will grow your business. It is the secret. So if you've been looking for the secret, I just told you, you now know. Consistently doing the right actions is the secret. So my point in all this, right, is that if you're one of the people like me, where the just do it didn't seem to work, right? You're like, okay, well, I tried to just do it. It didn't happen. I wanted to talk to you guys about how I got out of that cycle of telling myself I was going to do all these things and then not doing them, not following through on that. Okay. Because at the end of it, your goal as a coach should be to find whatever path works for you to get into a consistent behavior of positive actions that will build your business, because then you'll start to see the results. It'll start to feel really good. Your confidence will build and things will snowball in the right direction instead of staying on that like crazy roller coaster that leads to eventually quitting, to be honest. Okay. All right. So here's what I learned. Trust, faith, and belief. This is where I had to take my personal business back to through a lot of like self-discovery to get to a point where I could figure out what would drive me to actually take action. Okay. So I was on that yo-yo for at least a couple years. And it wasn't until, again, maybe like a couple years in when I finally realized, that doing the 3 vital behaviors, the people who are just doing it, right? There's a lot going on behind the scenes, I feel, right? That doing the 3 vital behaviors takes trust in the process, right? You have to trust that you've seen it work for somebody else. And if you just trust that process, that it will also work for you. This was a big one. You have to have faith that even though you're not seeing an immediate return on your actions, right? You're sending an invite to somebody and they're not like, and that's not going to produce a challenge pack in 10 seconds. You have to have faith that even though you're doing these things that seem potentially meaningless, that they will have results, 4 to 6 weeks down the road, or even 4 to 6 months down the road. I heard a top coach say one time, she was like, I train my team to expect to have to be consistent on social media for 6 months before you can build a real following. I think that's fair, right? That's really, when you get down to it, that's it's not an unreasonable thing to expect. So you have to have faith that even though you're taking action and you're not seeing like an immediate return right now, that it's still worth it and that it's going to work. And then for me, this was the biggest one: belief that what I'm doing actually matters. Okay. One of those people where if I feel like it doesn't matter, I will have the hardest time making myself do anything. But if I can mentally connect to why it matters, then I'm all in and I'm like going for it. Right. Even back on that example of the yo-yo, right? Okay, I'm going to miss Success Club, which means I won't get leads, which means I'll break my streak, which means all these things will happen if I miss Success Club. All of a sudden, sucking it up and doing the activities mattered to me. So I would do it. Right. It's just one of those things. So the reason I put this cathedral picture up here is if you've ever had to do menial tasks, right? Like things that you felt were meaningless or menial, small little tasks, they feel like work. They feel pointless and not fun, right? They just feel like time wasters, and can easily become one of your lowest priorities. Like they can become the thing that you put off, that you procrastinate on, that you just skip altogether. And, conversely, if you are doing something that you believe matters either to you or to somebody else or in the grander scheme of life, it might still feel like work, but it might not. It might feel like something that you just naturally do. And inevitably, you're going to do it with more excellence, just naturally. But either way, you still do it. You just do it. So I put this cathedral story or this cathedral picture up here because, you guys may have heard the story about the 3 men who were building a cathedral, right? The first guy, when asked, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm laying bricks. The second guy, when asked the same question, he goes, oh, I'm building a wall. And the third guy, when asked the same question, looks up and he's like, I'm building a cathedral, right? And so his day was like, felt meaningful, whereas the other 2 were like, meh, whatever, right? So I feel like it always comes down to belief. If you are not taking action in your business, I personally feel that it always comes back to belief. You have a block in your beliefs. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how you can build your belief so that it'll drive your actions. Okay, like some tactical things on how to actually do that, because I'm all about tactical. One of the things that Ruth always says is she says, action is the seed to belief. I love that. I believe that. And whichever way you tackle this, it's a circular self-fulfilling thing. Taking action, whether you believe in it or not, will lead to belief. If you are struggling to even start taking action, the work you need to put in needs to be on building your belief so that it'll drive your action. It's a circle. It's a self-fulfilling circle. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about today is how do you reinforce your beliefs to drive your actions and sustain your faith and trust as you go through the process. Okay. So I have a couple hashtags because I love hashtags. And this is going to be your daily action plans. 3 things. I have one slide on each of these and then I'm done. Okay. So I believe, I am proof, and make it easy. And I have a call to action for you guys at the end of this thing. All right. This is where I get to sound like a legit crazy person and talk to you about how I talk to myself all the time. This is a screen capture of my belief statements that I wrote out last month, that I read every day. Okay. I don't know if you can even see them. It's probably small and blurry, but, this is something that I did, as part of my work on my beliefs to address the things that were holding me back. So I want to tell you how I got here, right? Because I have written out my whys, or what I thought were my whys, a million times. I came into this business and I was like, oh, I got to find my why. So I'd write something down and then it would sit over there in my notebook, or I'd put it up on my whiteboard and I'd look at it all the time, but I wouldn't feel anything about it. I was like, it's good, whatever. So that's where I got so frustrated. I was like, why is my why not driving me to do something, right? Why am I sitting over here just not doing anything? So I realized that for me, it was a lack of belief. It was a lack of belief in the belief department, I guess. I had to start telling myself what I wanted to believe because I was not believing it. I would write out, oh, I'm going to be a 10-star diamond coach. And I didn't believe myself. No matter how many times I told myself that, I was like, whatever, Becky, you're not even inviting, right? How are you going to be a 10-star diamond coach if you're not inviting? So, like I said, bottom line, if you're not taking action in your fitness journey or in your coaching business, it comes back to you don't believe in something that you are trying to do, or that you don't believe in the vision that you have for this business or for yourself. So you have to work as hard on building that belief as you do on the other stuff, on your meal plan, on your workouts, on your, social media posts and things like that. Otherwise, it's going to be the thing that you make up reasons and excuses to procrastinate on. So here's how I do it, right? This is how I came up with this list. This is how I talk to myself like a crazy person all day long, every day. Okay. So if I find something that is, that I'm struggling with, I ask myself the 5 whys. I'll give you an example because that may not make any sense, but let's just say, what do you struggle with? Inviting, right? Let's say we struggle with inviting. Why? Let's just say I said, because I feel like I don't know the person well enough. I don't feel comfortable inviting them yet. Okay, well, why? Well, because I haven't really talked to them much since we became friends, maybe. Why? On number 3rd why? Well, because I never actually sent them a message, which might be a good first step. Well, why haven't you sent them a message, Becky? Because I feel it's weird to send random people messages who I don't really interact with much. Okay, well, why haven't you interacted with them, Becky? Because when I sit down to interact with people's posts, like comment and like on their posts, it feels like it doesn't matter. It feels like a menial task that I could just as easily put off until tomorrow. Does it really matter if I like and comment on their posts? That was where I was getting to. I was getting so far down into the weeds of I was getting stopped at the basic activities of going, it doesn't matter whether I comment on people's posts or not today. I can do that tomorrow. I have more important things I need to be doing right now. Right? So I would stop the funnel at the biggest part. Right? I wasn't building relationships with people. I wasn't showing people attention. So then I never got to that point where I felt comfortable enough talking to them or inviting them or, interacting with them in a meaningful way that would make a difference for them or for my business. So it's that tiny little meaningful task up here of commenting on people's posts and liking on their pictures and doing that activity, that was the beginning of my stop. Okay. So that's why I say you got to ask yourself the 5 whys to get down to the root of it. It's never going to be something like Herculean. Like, it's never going to be that. It's always going to be something little, which is great, but also annoying. Okay. So that will help you figure out what's really holding you back. And then that's where these belief statements come in, where you tell yourself what you want to believe. I believe that sending these friendly messages are seeds to building a strong relationship foundation. If I don't believe that today, if I tell myself, well, yeah, okay, I do believe that. I believe that, but I have to remind myself every freaking day. Otherwise I won't do it. Okay. So that's where I got to these things, right? I believe that strategically engaging on posts will help my new friends get to know that I care about them, right? That'll help make it more comfortable for me to actually message them, or make it more comfortable for me to actually invite them, that kind of thing. So that's how I got to that. Belief statements. I challenge you guys to do this. Like, just spend part of your personal development time working on you. I did not get to my why in a day. It's taken like 3 years for me to peel back all that onion and figure out what my issues are. Okay. So that's number 1, I believe. Number 2, I am proof. Okay. So when I heard be the proof the products work, which is, one of our vital behaviors, my brain went into perfectionist mode, and I heard that I have to be perfect. I have to follow my plan 100% perfectly. I have to get my 6-pack abs. My results have to be insane, or no one is going to want to take my advice as their coach, which is really not the case, as we all know. If you don't know that, that's the case. You don't have to be perfect. But so what we started to do in my challenge group a few months ago is, maybe it was back in like the spring, summer, it was around the Summer Strong Challenge. We decided to, every time we posted anything that had to do with us trying, showing up and making the effort. I'm trying, I'm working, I'm trusting the process. And I believe that I believe in what I'm doing, what I'm asking you to do, right? I'm being that proof, that we would tag our photos with IAMPROOF. What does this mean? What it meant to me was that I was recognizing the behavior that I wanted to encourage in myself, was that I'm trying, I'm working on this. I'm trying to trust more. I'm showing up and doing this. Even if I don't have a super strong belief that what I'm doing matters, I'm still doing it. And I'm showing the world that I'm proof. Okay. So if you're getting stuck on your fitness journey, as an example, right? Don't let that perfectionist mindset stop you from trying and working and showing up. Recognize that you are being proof just by trying. And that applies to your business as well. It means you're showing up, you're interacting with people's posts, you're sending those few invites, even if they're weird and awkward. You're still doing it instead of letting your stops stop you. Okay. So I am proof. I don't know who that is that's off mute, but I hear you. All right, last one, and this is where I get a little bit tactical. One of the biggest things for me was I love to overthink things. And so what I have found is that if I can remove as much thinking as possible, then I can't talk myself out of it. Okay, so this was for me as a person, if I am faced with too many decisions, then I get stopped. Like in my fitness journey, the meal plan is the thing that always gives me the biggest struggle, because I have to make so many decisions. How do I space out my containers? Which foods do I put in them? Even though they give me a list, right? Even that many decisions was like, it's a lot for me. As a contrast, right? I just finished the Ultimate Reset last month, and I was scared to do that program forever because I thought it was going to be too much self-discipline required, which I don't have a lot of either. But it was actually awesome because they told you exactly what to eat for every single meal. So I had to make no decisions at all. It was great. So I learned that about myself, that the fewer decisions I have to make, the more I take action. So that's what I'm saying here. Make it easy on yourself by taking out your opportunity to talk yourself out of it. Okay. So as an example, here's what I do to make it easy on myself. I love systems. If you're not working from a contact list, work from a contact list. whether it's one that you write out or if you download your Facebook friend list, your phone contact book or whatever, contacts list, work from a list. That way, when you sit down to do your invites, you do not have to think about who to invite or who to reach out to. Like legitimately, you can just say, okay, who's next on the list, and just do it, right? Take the decision out. Use a tracker, track your activity again, so that you don't have to think, you don't have to remember, who did I talk to yesterday? Who am I supposed to follow up with? Take out all those opportunities for you to tell yourself, I don't have the time to figure this out. I don't know who to contact. I can't remember. I got to go find it. And the next thing you know, you're organizing your desk for the next 3 hours. Use a tracker. I personally use Teamsy. I love it. It makes my life easy. Many coaches on my team use Excel, pen and paper. It doesn't really matter. You got to find something that works for you. Scripts. I use scripts for everything. Every time I find myself using the same verbiage, whether it's one sentence or a whole paragraph, I put it in a Google document and I save it, because then I can go back and copy and paste later. When I sit down and I say, okay, I want to invite people to my free group, I know exactly what has worked in the past, and I can just copy and paste that 10 times. It takes me 10 minutes and I'm out. I don't have to think. Okay. And then the schedule is the last thing. And then I'm going to shush up because I know we're over time. But this little box on the right is a typical schedule for how I break up my day. Right. And then at this point, right, I have more time to devote to my business than I did in the beginning. But I mapped this out this way because I wanted to encourage you guys who are strapped for time, if you're working full time or have kids or whatever, you can break up your day into as many little chunks as you need to make it work. So this is how I work through it, right? First thing in the morning, I spend 10 minutes and I do what I call am I keeping the lights on in my business, right? Is my business open? So I go into my Coach Online office and I check my business. I check my downline to see if there's any inactives. I check my, alerts over on the left to make sure that nothing has blown up overnight. The next thing, that takes maybe 10 minutes. The next thing I do is what I call a hazard check, because these are things that I tended to put on the bottom of the list before in favor of inviting more and more people. And what I found is that my existing customers were really not getting enough attention from me. So I do a hazard check, right? I look for, in the coach office, I look for any new orders that have come in. I look for any new leads that have come in. I look for returns. So in case I need to address that, I can figure that out. And then I look for upcoming orders so I can remind my customers, hey, you're due to ship whatever, blah, blah, blah. That for me I found that I was spending a lot of time fighting these fires that I could have avoided. I was getting surprised by returns, or my customers were getting pissed because they didn't know an order was coming up and they'd forgotten about the email I sent them or whatever. Those kind of things. Okay. Then I spend the majority of my time on what I call pumping the well, right? Doing your follow-ups, doing your invites to whatever you're inviting to, challenge coaching. I do a Shakeology samples group just about once a month, free groups, whatever you want to invite to, but spend your time of the meat of this business pumping the well, getting more visibility on your opportunity to new people. The next one, cast the love net. That was one I neglected a lot, right? That whole idea of engaging with people just on friendly conversation. So I make it a point to quickly go through every day and send a message to everybody that's having a birthday that day. They give you a list right there in Facebook. I go through my on this day, like the time hop version on Facebook. And literally it tells you, hey, you became friends with this person 2 years ago. There's usually a list, 2 or 3 people. I send them a message and say, hey, it's in a script. Hey, Facebook just reminded me that we've been friends for 2 years. Crazy. I haven't talked to you in 6 months. How's it going? Boom, done. Takes 10 seconds. And then something that I didn't used to do, but I do now, is I love on yesterday's posts. So if somebody is interacting with my post, I make a point to go and interact on there so that relationship continues to build. So I just call it loving on yesterday's stuff. It gives you a quick way to figure out who to go talk to that day. That's all my only point. And then staying in touch. I can't see the bottom of my slide here, so I don't know what's down there, but staying in touch is just keeping an eye on the people who've already said yes to me. So continuing to attempt to contact leads, even though they may never ever reply to anything ever. keeping in touch with my customers at least once a month, keeping in touch with my coaches once a month, and then mentoring my leaders so that, you know, we're constantly in conversation instead of, oh, hey, I haven't talked to you in 6 months. Why are you going to go inactive? That's not the conversation you want to have with any coach, really. But that's it. That's my schedule. Okay. So here is my call to action for you guys before I shut it down. If you guys implement any of this stuff and you make a post on Facebook, I want you to hashtag it with these hashtags so that I can see it. I can see that you are being the action that you're taking, right? That you are working on your belief, that you're being proof, that you're trying, and that you are doing things to make it easy on yourself to succeed. Okay, so if you do it, post it and tag it, and I can give you like a woohoo. All right, that's all I got. So I'm going to stop sharing. Zoom.
Thank you, Becky, that was so good. I'm just like all the chat is going up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so me, and I feel the same way. I struggle with the same exact thing for so long. So I like that you used really like applicable, easy to follow, actionable steps to give us some ideas to move with if we were struggling in that area. So awesome. This call was recorded, so I'm going to download the recording and it'll be in the file section under the Zoom training calls. And happy Labor Day, everybody. Thanks for jumping on. Let's do the wave because that's what we do. Good night.
Bye, y'all.